So we're back trying to. This is going to be the last time I go over it, regardless, unless something mind blowing happens before I have to hang it up because I do have about an hour before I have to leave out. I'm hoping that this last 20 minutes doesn't reach an hour. I hope not. But if you didn't watch number two, being the first part, and you want to go a recap of sort is a caller called into a show. The guy on the left is known for his atheist debates. He's an atheist. I'm not sure who the chick on the left is, but the topic is abortion and women's access to abortions. Okay, and her main talking point is the proper way to like care for life is to make sure the mom, the person who's carrying the baby that they're going to kill, should be protected. That's the best way to quote unquote protect the baby that's going to die. So that's where we are right here. We're 9.5 minutes in. Got another 20 minutes to go. So let's get to it.
People are not abstinent. It's not going to happen. It's never happened in the history of the world that people stay abstinent simply because they don't want to have children.
I have questions, Kyle, but I want to let you talk. I'm just letting you know.
I think I agree that it's never happened.
Okay.
But my question would be why?
I wonder why he said it's never happened, referring to the abstinence. It absolutely has happened. Like people have stayed virgins until they were married. I don't understand why why they keep doing that. If you want to say we need to, broaden or exercise as many options as possible, and try to reserve that idea of, keep unwanted pregnancies down and keep a decent order and structure within society. Yeah, I agree. But to keep saying abstinence is not the answer, you can't. No, you have to properly go about dismissing abstinence because it isn't just simply again, it just doesn't work. It does. You have to for abstinence to work at its best. If this is what you want, I'm not saying you have to take society in this direction, but if you want abstinence to actually be effective and work, you have to construct a society that has a shit ton of order, because that's the only way you can really get self-discipline on a broad scale. And I mean it got to be more than just sex too. Like it got to be people's diets, people's routine, the religion. It has to be on, like it got to be clicking in order for abstinence to really work. And then also, as somebody, I forget who said it, but somebody said before, I don't know if it was this video or not, but you have to understand the human biology. I've said before that when it comes to this abstinence and baby making and all the marriage, we've constructed a society that works in a way that you have to hope that you know people's simple biological desires don't simply just take over at some point, right? Like we start wanting our biologically, I'm not saying like we supposed to, but biologically we start wanting to reproduce at what, 12, 13, somewhere in there. But we've constructed society to say, no, you should only worry about reproducing when you're 30, 35. Like it gets older like every week. We raise the age. It's like that seems kind of stupid. Like at some point they said the average age of death, and I believe natural death was like 45. Like literally just and only since medicine has it gotten over like 70, 80 years old. Why would you do that? Why would you construct a society that requires you to wait until what was your original expected death to start having kids? That's retarded. But that's where we are right now. Society is just kind of really just doesn't work, so it's all over the place. So it's not the absent doesn't work. You just gotta, if you want it to work, you have to construct a society to do so. All right.
Has it never happened? We could get to that point, but
we have not. We have not. So will we really? I think I don't think that is so unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Period. It's just not.
So my question, I have a number of questions, Kyle. You say abortion should be illegal. What should the penalty be? And
it's really weird when people in her position like to bring up what is realistic in terms of biology and society when the same side, and I know she hasn't said this, but mainly because this isn't that topic, but I think it's fair to say the same sides questions biology, period. Like literally, can a man get pregnant has been popular this last couple weeks because of the side she's standing on. They don't believe we should say yes or no to that. So it's kind of hard to respect anybody from her side saying biology just isn't. It's not possible to remain abstinence, but they won't say it's not possible to like for me to not get pregnant. Okay, all right, and then also right before as I push pause, I realized Matt here is about to go down the line of, oh, so you want to put women in jail for the penalty? You want the person who performs the abortion penalty? And this chokes people like Kyle up every fucking time. Because they can't bring themselves to say that, hey, yes, I believe what the woman and the abortionist is doing is murder. And either saying, yes, we should lock them both up, or saying, you know what, I am willing to live in a world where we don't have much integrity and ethics and morals. But we need to, be very consistent throughout as to what we're going to accept and not accept as far as the ethical and moral basis. They don't want to have to take either path to that. So this usually chokes them up, and they end up just saying something like, well, women were kind of just duped, then they're these stupid beings that just can't think, and that's why they asked that stupid ass question. But let's see how he responds to it.
For whom?
The penalty is that you have to have the child.
Having a child as a punishment is crazy.
You see how it made him give a stupid answer? Your punishment is you have to be a mom. That we also are going to say is a blessing. Excuse me. That's why I can't really take their stance on. Hold on, give me a second. Excuse me. I don't know what the hell I ate that has me choked up like that. Jeez. But yeah, it's really difficult to take that stance serious when every time, like the first time I seen it was Michael Knowles. I believe he was on whatever podcast. And he said, yeah, it's murder. And then when one of the girls questioned him about it, like, okay, you want to put him in jail? Oh, no, you don't. Women were duped. He basically said, women are too fucking stupid to be put in jail for crimes that they commit. So let's just let them off the hook. That's essentially what he said. And it's like, you got to work around with that. You can admit, yes, I believe it's murder. However, I know we do a lot of unethical, immoral shit in society, period. So you know what? Listen, let's come to some common ground here. Let's try to give some way to both sides to, try to minimize the unethicalness that we just can't get away from while claiming to be in a free country, and at least trying to keep that facade alive. You can kill your kid. Just make sure it's within a certain ground, which means you do have to do your due diligence as a human being, and make sure you don't get out of there. After that, I just can't help you, because either you're going to keep up, simply be responsible enough to have an abortion within the first, trimester or whatever the law would be, or you just have to go through it. Like we can't give you a fail all, never have to go through anything whatsoever. Like we just can't. But then on the flip side, you can never claim child support ever, unless you get it in writing. Unless you sit down with the dude you're about to fucking say, hey, sign this. We're not going to push for child support. So take it or leave it. You get to kill a kid. You got to be on top of that, though. He doesn't have to give a fuck that you and that kid exist after he does. How about that? Like, there's some sort of workaround with this stuff, but they're too hell-bent on, I care about women. Don't tell me I don't. But I'm also a Christian. Dude, there's got to be give and take. Both sides got to understand that.
So you want to create a law?
Looking at it like
hang on. I'm asking about the penalty. You're saying that abortion is illegal. So you're saying that if they have to have the baby. I'm saying if someone has an abortion, what should the penalty be since it's illegal? I'm sorry you're too confused about this, like you've never looked into this subject at all. But when I say what should the penalty be, you can't say it's to have the baby. No, you've made abortion illegal. Abortion is the legal termination of a pregnancy. It has nothing to do with killing. But if somebody has an abortion, which you've now made illegal, what should the penalty be? And what should the penalty be for the person who has an abortion and for the person who performs an abortion? Is this your first time ever thinking about this or talking about this?
He's made it very clear. I stand with him on this question. If you want this to be an illegal activity, okay, fine. What either is the penalty or the compromise? You can offer a compromise. Which one will it be? He's asking for it. Let's see what Kyle says.
Happen because it's not legal.
I'm sorry, Kyle. Kyle, is it legal to exceed the speed limit?
No, it's not enforced.
No. Does that mean it doesn't happen?
Because it's not enforced.
Of course it's enforced.
No. How do you enforce it? If I have a coat hanger,
3 miles an hour.
If I have a coat hanger and perform an abortion, if I have a coat hanger and perform an abortion, what should the penalty be?
That would be very harsh. I don't know what the penalty would be.
That's because you have no thoughts about any of this, Kyle. When people get into a car, are they consenting to having an accident and being paralyzed for the rest of their life every time they get in a car?
No, that's not.
No, but that's a possible outcome, isn't it? And by the way, you're now on yes or no questions until we get to a point where I think you have something productive to add to this. So when people get into a car to drive, they are not consenting to being in an accident and being paralyzed forever, but they are consenting to the risk of that happening with the understanding.
Exactly.
Don't fucking say a word. Every time you interrupt me, you get closer and closer to being put on mute. Just wait. So people are consenting to the risk, and they do so with the knowledge that there are a number of different possible remedies to that risk. And that if somebody is at fault and injures me, that there are remedies that come from that people, but they don't get to dictate it. I don't get to say my car and my ability to walk are worth $75 billion, and now you must pay me $75 billion out of your pocket, or, blah, blah. You don't get to define that. So right now, people are consenting to sex. They are doing it with prophylactics. They are doing it with both physical and chemical. They are doing it without that. They are doing it with the recognition that pregnancy may result and that there are remedies for that pregnancy, including terminating that pregnancy. You are taking away that remedy. You want to make...
Yo, what? A remedy for pregnancy? Let me look at what the fuck a remedy, the definition of remedy is. What the hell? That's crazy. Hold on. Let me ask Google what the fuck a remedy is. What is a remedy? A medicine or treatment for a disease or injury. Bro, let me use the definition in the sentence that he just said. He said, people have sex, and they know what that can be pregnancy. And they know that a medicine or treatment for the disease or injury is a pregnancy, a disease or injury. So we're just going ahead and just using whatever the fuck words that are in the medical field just because. We're treating a pregnancy as an injury or disease. All right. Or there's also this part on here that says the the margin within which coins as minted may differ from the standard fitness and weight. And then under that it says set right an undesirable situation. So maybe he's using that, which is still an insane stretch, but okay. Wow. A remedy for pregnancy, which is an injury or disease. All right, got it. So if you have sex with a chick and you get her pregnant, did you injure her? Like you have to account for that. That has to be a way to address that, right? Because if she considers her pregnancy an injury, which is the only one of the two that would even come close to making sense. If you do that, right, aren't you at that point saying that the dad injured her? That's the only thing I can think of, which makes sex by default some sort of violence. Oh my God. Be careful out there, fellas. Damn.
One of the remedies illegal because you personally are opposed to it when the rest of us aren't. What right should you or anybody else have to force someone to remain pregnant against their will and to implement stiff penalties if they don't follow your preferred method?
I muted Kyle just because there was that like weird sound. I'll unmute him right now. Sorry about that. I want to make sure we could hear you.
Yeah, there was wind. I'm sorry. I was walking to my car. I'm sorry.
Oh, so you're consenting to an accident?
Yes, I'm consenting to drive with the possibility of getting in an accident. Yes.
Cool.
So then if you get into a car accident, you consented to being in the car. You consented to the possibility of an accident. So we're just not supposed to help you. We're not going to take you to the hospital.
Okay, that is a extremely false equivalency there. I don't think you should be forced to. I think at this point we're just talking about what you should do morally or ethically as a person as far as helping someone. But that to me is not necessarily a like. I don't understand why she brought that up here. That is insanely a false equivalency to should you be forced to helping someone that is like and you can help the pregnant lady if you want. That's not the argument. So that was really off.
No, that's not the case at all. We have
Okay. Why would that not be the case? You consented to the possibility of an accident. Why should we have to help you? You knew that was a possibility when you got into the car. You consented to that, huh?
Yes, I consented to possibly getting in a car accident, getting injured, and then I would have to go to the hospital. Like that's why we have hospitals.
Because you don't want to sustain the injuries that you have. So you want to have them corrected and fixed.
Oh my lady. Whoa, this is crazy. People who use her argument, I need you to listen to me. A hospital, whether you do universal health care or not, that is a transaction. We do not need it to be the equivalent of being pregnant. Wow, this is bad. This is a horrible take. We're not saying you can't go to the hospital while pregnant. We're specifically saying, hey, depending on who makes the argument, there's a baby there, there's a dad there. You're not the only party that matters in that equation at all. We don't give a fuck who body it takes place in. You're not the only person that matters. Only. Yes, pregnancy is in your body. That doesn't mean you're the only person that matters. And then people like this want to do the murder thing. That's even still, that does not mean that because it takes place in your body, therefore you just carte blanche, you get to make the decision and that's it. No. So you cannot equate this to, so if somebody goes to the hospital, should we just not help them? Who is we? Are you like, if you're a doctor, who else is? No. If somebody goes to the hospital for a car injury or pregnancy, and that hospital I'm not sure what the bylaws are in, like, because I know they have to go under oath or some shit like that. So I can't really say what should take place. But like, that's a sort of transaction. Ergo, if the hospital wants to help, the hospital can't help. That has nothing to do with abortion at all.
So your logic is not consistent. So
Yeah.
what is the reason truly that you think that abortion should be illegal? Because it's not about if you consented to sex. It's not based on the principle that if you consented to sex, you're consenting to the pregnancy. That's clear, because that's not a consistent principle for you. So what is the reason?
It is actually that, and
But it's not, because
does
if
make sense. My answer would be that I understand the risk that I'm taking, and I might have to go to the hospital after I get injured.
Okay.
But
Kyle, listen real close.
I'm not gonna blame whoever sold me the car because I got into an accident. I consented to get in the car.
Kyle,
it's not about blame, it's about care. It's about the result.
I'm not gonna return the car. That makes more sense. I'm not gonna.
Here we go. Kyle, you're too stupid for this conversation, so I'm going to mute you because you are.
I can't stand when people do this. I can't. Because you have a mute button, and this pisses me off, dude. But just because you have a mute button, you want to be this type of asshole. And this is what gives validity to people who say you wouldn't say that shit to my face, when that is a dumb argument. But when the context is, I have a mute button, therefore I'm going to be the biggest fucking asshole on planet Earth, and you're just going to take it because I have a mute button, and we're on the phone, bitch. Like, this, dude, you're not going to get anywhere with people when you do this, when you act this way. Now, no, you didn't win over anybody with this conversation at all. You didn't make them more compassionate for chicks who want abortions. People who defend abortion, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything positive for where you stand. All you did was make people annoyed. If they probably didn't finish this debate. If I wasn't doing like this video, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. It just for you to just dismiss people and go, oh, you're too stupid. Why would I listen? Why would I give a fuck? Now definitely when a politician goes, would you like to vote against abortion? Well, they don't give a fuck about my opinion, so yes. Get rid of it. If you're gonna tell people you want to come to some sort of a conclusion about it, have the actual conversation as a decent person.
Avoiding the actual issues here. So I'm going to give you a scenario. You get in your car and you have an accident and you are rushed to a hospital, and you live in a country that does not provide by default health care to people unless they can show that they can pay for it. And you are delivered to a hospital that is run by Jehovah's Witnesses, and you need a blood transfusion, and they are imposing their religious views on the people in their hospital, and they will not allow a blood transfusion. Are you okay with that scenario?
Okay, that was a hell of a scenario. Again, like I said earlier, I think he's asking to answer the question as if the laws could be just like that. So I'll do that. Okay. I think it'd be a moral thing to do. Should we make laws and enforce it? I'll be listening to the conversation. To go either way, honestly. I would really have to sit down and listen to who makes the best case for either way, honestly. But I think collectively, what will happen is we will all sit down and have, excuse me, and have an understanding that if, with all the different types of religions, with all of the different, just simply groups of people in general, race, religion, sexuality, politics, I think we will come to the understanding of, listen, we want hospitals to not be able to exercise religious-based whatever and dismiss people who defer on the matter. I think we will get to a point. We will come to a point of agreement of, listen, we're going to have to leave certain shit out. Otherwise, we could be on the cusp of a riot, a nationwide riot, because of, this person of this religion didn't get treated. This person of this group didn't get treated. Overwhelming number of this group. So we're just going to make the national law that you have to take people. I think that's what we will come to. Now, if you ask me if I would be okay if they somehow, we somehow didn't come to that conclusion and simply said, nope, if you have an hospital, you only have to treat the people you feel like fucking treating. If that's what it takes to uphold my principles, which I'm going to pretend to be Kyle here and say my principles would be no abortion, then I think at that point it would be in my benefit to actually say yeah. Because when you think about it, Christian is it's declining, but it's still a really big popular religion in America. So I would say yes. And then I would leverage the fact that Christianity is extremely popular. And I'm willing to bet that we can have more Christian doctors, more Christian hospitals, or simply have enough that the amount of death and dying people would be very minimal. If you could treat people based on a religion, I'm pretty sure that we would have Christian-based healthcare insurance, so on and so forth. And if you ever got hurt and need to be rushed, we could, hopefully you have a number saved where they would reach out to the people closest to you that treat Christians and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure Kyle isn't going to get even remotely close to saying something like that. But that would be something that I would exercise if I were Kyle.
Am I okay with that? What? With that scenario?
Correct. Are you okay living in a world where you are not necessarily afforded health care, and if you go to a hospital run by Jehovah's Witnesses, you can't have the blood transfusion you need?
No, because health and safety.
Then say goodbye, dumbass, because you just defeated your own fucking argument.
I'm still.
Oh, no. You're not still talking, motherfucker. You're done.
He didn't defeat his own argument. What he thinks he just got Kyle to admit was, no, I don't want people to deny abortions based on Christian beliefs. That's not what that is. That's not an equal comparison, not even close. Because your pregnancy is not literally an injury. Your pregnancy is not a disease. Your pregnancy is quite literally just a regular part of functioning, like living. Like, I don't know how to describe it really, but like, you come in her, she gets pregnant, she carries the baby. Me saying, nah, I'm not going to perform the abortion does not mean, oh, bitch about to die. Unless, of course, you're doing that shitty thing where you're leaning on people who actually did die because they had a medical condition and also happened to be pregnant at the same time, or had a complicated pregnancy because shit was going wrong, and now you're just going to smother that over all abortions. That is a really shitty thing to do as a human being, period. You should never do that, ever. Stop leaning on people who actually died, who actually came close to death, who actually lost a child because they had a complicated abortion. That is a shitty thing to do for somebody who claims to care about women. Wow. It's very ironic. Ladies, I really need to have this discussion with some of y'all. When y'all hear dudes who claim to be pro y'all, for y'all, supportive y'all, do y'all not ever catch the fact that they treat you like fucking dummies who can't think? Do y'all ever come to that conclusion or recognition? Ever? He's leaning on the fact that some of y'all actually do go through traumatic situations in order to push something through that he wants to get through. So at this point, your actual terrible experience is just a playing card for him. Not the experience it actually was. So he can win an argument with somebody on the phone. But they give a fuck about you. All right, if you believe that. If you fucking believe that. Again, walking into a hospital or abortion clinic and them saying, or well, not an abortion clinic, but obviously not an abortion clinic, but somewhere, some health place, period, where they say we don't provide abortions, it's not a death sentence. You also, even if he were to again, give some leeway or compromise, he could say, well, no, you can't have it at this hospital, but in your scenario, Matt, you could easily go and get the training to perform an abortion and have your own free abortion clinic. And you and everybody all over America could do it. Why don't you? Because it sounds like to me, the people who are like Matt, who are super pro-abortion, seem to really only be pro-abortion in arguments, quote unquote, theory. They never go and get the training. They never go and try to open their own abortion clinic. They never seem to have a abortion like access portal thing with some funds to go with it. They seem to just talk shit and get paid to talk shit. Again, they give so much fucks about y'all. Damn. But people like me, we're just the shitbags, huh? Got it.
You're completely 100%, a million percent. You will never get to say another word on today's episode of this show. I'm going to leave you there on mute because you sound like you're about 19 and have never thought about any of this subject before. Not thought about the consequence. Oh, it'll be a stiff.
19. I hate when people use age at its convenience. Because I'm pretty sure any 19-year-old who wants to get the abortion, you're not going to say, you've never thought about this situation, have you? You clearly can't make it. Because people like him believe you should actually have it at like 12. But 19 is too young to talk about it. To actually have one, go right ahead. To talk about it, nah. Shut the fuck up, you 19-year-old. All right.
Penalty. It should be a stupid. Well, it just won't happen. People just start taking responsibility. You're too dumb, and I don't believe you're this dumb. So I don't believe you're being sincere. You are either completely clueless and have not spent a second thinking about it, and did not spend any time thinking about the examples that Alyssa and I gave. You are advocating for your personal views, your uninformed, clueless, and immoral views on abortion rights to be imposed on other people. And when I asked you about somebody else's views on blood transfusions being enforced on you, well, that just wasn't right. Well, too damn bad. They're the ones in charge. Instead, the rest of us are going to work together and cooperatively to build a society where there's a proper separation of church and state, and where laws have a secular purpose and a secular justification, and that individual liberties and freedoms are valued. And so you don't have to worry about getting anybody pregnant because somebody's managed to convince you, stupidly, that maybe sex isn't for you. Maybe it only exists within marriage. Well, if you wait and you get married and your wife gets pregnant in this world where you've banned abortion, I hope she doesn't need a medical abortion. I hope you don't end up with a kid that you don't want and can't take care of because you were irresponsible and now you spend.
There he goes using that, traumatic experience again. But also I'll pause it here because he said, I hope you don't have a kid that you don't want or can't take care of. As if he gives a fuck. I would really like, because I'm not calling the show, I would really like somebody who actually cares enough to call this show or has the time to call this show to ask him this question. Do you believe fathers should be given a time period where they can opt out because, having sex isn't consenting to being a parent? I really want people like that who hold this position to say, yeah, they should. I guarantee you immediately that whole segregation of whoever the fuck she is will say, bye, Matt, the fuck out of here. I'll be damned if he can walk away just because I can.
The rest of your life, miserable. And so does your wife. So does that kid. In a couple weeks, Arden and I are going to go to my parents' 60th anniversary. In February, my parents will have been married for 60 years. That is quite the achievement, unless you're in a religious cult that doesn't allow divorce. If you're in a religious mindset that does not...
Wait, what? How is not allowing divorce make getting to 60 years not an achievement? It doesn't mean you only got there because of not divorce. It can still never come up. Holy shit. By this stupid ass logic, I can say, see, I have a great driving record, but it means nothing because they have laws on speeding and shit. No, I still drove like a good human being, like a good driver. I still have blah blah blah. Like it's like this idea that you have to only have had no laws on it for it to be an achievement. Get the fuck out of here. And then listen to what he said not too long ago with the whole you grow up having to be miserable because y'all had a kid y'all didn't want. What? It's this real logic he would accept the other way. Would he really accept me saying, I really don't want to be a father and she's pregnant, so she needs to go kill that fucking baby? I'm pretty sure his logic will turn into, you can't make her. You just have to be a father. Well, I didn't consent to being a parent, so good luck with that pregnancy.
Permit divorce. Do you find ways to make it work? Yes, you do. Does that mean it's a good marriage? Not necessarily. It might be. I think my parents probably have a pretty good marriage overall. They've done way better than a lot of people, but merely getting to 60 years, if you're also of a mindset that divorce just isn't an option, is nothing to be proud of. Because sometimes not only is divorce a good option, it's the best option. My ex-wife and I are still great friends. We talk frequently. We have no business being married to each other anymore. It was the right thing for both of us. It was a mess. It was ugly.
Again, I don't like this logic that seems to only be good enough to a point. And it's usually where if the guy says, fuck it, dude, I'm out. Because again, if you want, sometimes the divorce is the best option. Sometimes abortion is the best option. Okay. Can I say sometimes me not being there is the best option? So let's get rid of the term deadbeat dad. Let's turn it into dad that chose the best option for him. Matter of fact, he can say it's the best option for the kid because, hey, I felt like I was going to be a child molester. I felt like I was going to kill the kids. I felt like I was bringing a whole family down with my energy, and I just chose the best option for everyone and just left. Would that be good sound logic? No, because apparently the father can never really be like the decider person of what's the best option. No, only the mom can be like, this kid, fuck that, nope, pop, scramble it, dump it in a colostomy bag. That's the only course of logic that they'll allow with the whole best option to end things.
For a little bit, it was hurtful at the time. It was sad. And yet, when you take everything into consideration, it was absolutely the right decision. I could call her right now and she would tell you the exact same thing. When you try to dictate your personal opinion onto other people and hold them responsible to your standards, by the way, that I'll point out, Kyle, I'm going to assume that you're a cis man because only cis men are this fucking ignorant.
Oh my God. Dude. This, and then again, this is why the whole red pill thing is growing. This is why so many of them starting to align with the right and all that. Because y'all keep taking jabs at literally just being a straight dude that don't wear dresses. Holy shit. And you wonder why younger dudes look at fucking Andrew Tate and go, I want to be like him. You wonder why people like fucking Myron from Fresh and Fit and go, I want to be like him. Y'all really wonder why when you do shit like this? Only heterosexual men who don't wear dresses can be this bad of people. Not thinking that that's not going to make people align more with you who don't already. It's going to push people farther away, guaranteed. Holy shit.
Means you have no hope of actually becoming pregnant, so you're willing to impose restrictions on other people that you will never have to face yourself. And many of the people like you who are willing to impose this restriction on other people are the same ones that don't think there should be divorce. And you know why those guys think like that? You know why? Because they can't have an actual equitable relationship with respect and dignity. And
that is a huge jump. Matt, we're in an era, and here's the thing, I'm not even one of those people that don't believe in divorce. I think we should do different things in terms of marriage and divorce, but that's not me. Here's my issue. I think the people he's talking about simply believe we should handle marriage in a more serious kind of way, because we end up like this whole no fault thing. Why would you do no fault, but then also you need to go to family court and sort things out? Unless I'm wrong about that. If I'm wrong about that, we can backtrack. But otherwise, it seems like that's what it is. Like you have to agree to that. And I kind of lost my place here for some reason, and I don't want to rewind, so I was trying to scramble. So let's just go ahead and click play.
Somebody who loves them and wants to be with them. And so instead,
oh yeah, dude, we're in a day and age where they can pick their own partners. So if the chick to the right of you, or I guess would be your left, whatever the hell, were to get married, it isn't like the dude she picked would not be like I guess this equitable partner or whatever you just said. The overreaction, which I'll fine, I'll call it an overreaction, to say that you don't want divorce as possible, is mainly about the whole no fault situation, Matt. It's whereas you've seen video after video after video after video where women will go, yeah, he wasn't bad, he wasn't abused, he wasn't really anything negative. It's just I was just ready to go. And it's like, what? So this investment that we've made over this time is just, I'm ready to go. So I'm fired. No, not fired. You're still going to do your job as a father. I just don't want the setup anymore, and so you just can just go ahead and do the part I want you to do. What the fuck? So it's like I consider it like I address it in a way of like you get to fire me, but I still have to do my job. Type of thing, and that's really what the gripe comes down to. But yet, if you do the same thing to her, like, yeah, I want to fire you, but you still got to do your job. Oh no, you can't divorce her and still want to benefit from her cooking on a regular, or whatever it is she contributed to the house on a regular. You can't want that. No, but she can want it the other way. That's where it's like, and then also this idea of you can't frown upon ending a marriage unless you yourself say, yeah, I ain't shit, I see why she want to leave. It's not a black and white issue, Matt. But yet you need to play this shame card to get people to just I'll shut the fuck up because I don't want to be embarrassed as someone who's a fucking loser. Again, this is exactly why a lot of younger dudes can't get with this. Y'all keep wondering why so many younger guys are moving away from the left and close to the right. This is it, Matt. You don't actually give a fuck about like trying to figure out what some of the real issues and problems are. You just want to be able to say, "Oh, you're a fucking loser because you don't agree with me, so bitch, shut up and either get on my side or I'm going to continue to call you a fucking loser." I guess, sure.
If they can just knock somebody up and keep them from getting divorced, they get their helpmeet for life without having.
Yep, that's exactly it. That's the only logical way you can come to any of that, Matt. Any of it. You got me. You got us. We're just trying to trap bitches forever and ever and just, have a fuck slave forever, because every dude finds that enjoyable. Every dude finds it enjoyable to just, be able to say, go ahead and bend over. I'll put my penis in you. Okay. Alrighty. All right. I feel good. Go on by your day now. I'm going to go and play some video games now that I got to jack off with your vagina. Yeah, well, all men find that just great. That's it, right? That's why men are able to cheat too, because they're able to just convince women to let them jack off with their vaginas and then go about their day, right? It isn't, women never actually find men attractive or desirable. None of that, right? Even those cis guys, it isn't, you've never seen, I'm just assuming you've never seen women share a bunch of videos of dudes who like in the woods, swinging in the axe, going, all muscly and shit. You never saw any of these types of videos whatsoever with women just drooling over them, right? No, I'm sure you've only met women who find the very lefty or in the middle type of guy attractive, and therefore, that proves your point that, it's the cis men who can't keep women and blah, blah, blah. Even though you on the right as how to do. It's very odd. I just recognize this. He's trying to call other people who disagree with him the losers that can't keep an equitable relationship, yet he is a divorced guy who his wife, he had to agree to just be friends with the chick he used to fuck. Like that, oh my God, that being the clap back that the dudes on the left have is fucking insane. They get to spin that shit so many times. I just realized how, wow. It is a regular thing for dudes on that side to do, to say, hey, look, I became friends with the chick who I used to get to screw. But I just married another chick who I can screw. And so I get the finger point at you for not being able to, convince a woman to stay with you and let you screw. So therefore, you're wrong. Whew. All right. Okay. Sure.
To do any of the actual effort of being a decent human being, a decent husband, a decent father. You take care of the kids, I'm going to work, we'll be miserable together for the next 50 years. Sorry, Kyle, that shit don't fly. And you don't know enough about the subject for...
You see how he just invented an argument that Kyle didn't make? He just filled in these massive gaps. Massive. He brought up, don't believe in divorce. He could have asked Kyle why he was on the phone instead of muting him and sending him on his way. He could have had this very conversation. Listen, I understand that I did it. Where we say, your side usually believes in this. Your side usually believes in this. But he had Kyle on the phone. He could have asked Kyle all of this. But he sent Kyle packing and then attached this to Kyle's argument. And that's what he's going up against. That is literally straw manning if I've ever seen it.
Anybody to be interested in or care about anything you have to say. And the only reason I'm not going to hang up right now, like I said I would, is because I want to give Alyssa the opportunity to get a parting shot, unless you just want to drop him.
Well, the only thing that I would say to Kyle, because again, like I don't really have an interest in debating the moral portion anymore, because I think it's a waste of my time and their time. My concern is when I think about this in purely a practical sense, you have to keep abortion access legal. You have to. If you don't want to have an abortion, don't have an abortion. Lucky for you, Kyle, you're not in that situation. There are many, many exceptions. Even if you're going to do this purely based on the exceptions to the rule, meaning someone who has a dangerous pregnancy and they have to end the pregnancy to save their life. If they are in a state that has no abortion care, they will lose their life because you, Kyle.
Can fathers use the baby box? Let's just make that simple check mark and let's just even it on out. Can fathers use the baby box? Can we just make abortion completely accessible at any point? Hell, the 12th month, fine. Can fathers use the baby box? You say yes to that, you've got my vote for abortion from here to the end of time. Can fathers use the baby box?
And fuck off Wisconsin thinks that that's a better choice. Does that make sense? Does that make you feel like a good and pious person? I don't understand. And in the event that this person needs life-saving care, their blood is on your hands.
No,
the other part of it is if birth control fails. If they did not want to have a child, they used birth control and it failed. For one reason or another, it happens. Now they're stuck with a child. And like I said in the very beginning, encouraging abstinence does not work. It just doesn't work. Telling people not to have sex works as well as telling people who have depression to feel better and have a nice day. It's just not going to happen. So I'm not really interested in having a conversation on what's morally right and morally wrong. I'm interested in providing people life-saving care that is necessary. It is necessary for the grown human being who has hopes and dreams and an established life here. They get priority here. I'm sorry. And I just don't, I can't understand having someone's opinion, and someone's religious opinion, no less, affect how this person is going to get life-saving care. Fuck off. Mind your business. I can't understand it. I can't accept it. And when we...
There we go again. Life-saving. As if that's what most abortion is. It's so disingenuous to keep standing behind that. That's not what you mean. There's such a difference between life-saving and literally in the same breath she's saying, I'm stuck with a baby and I have hopes and dreams. Is it life-saving or hopes and dreams? You cannot argue them both equally. Life-saving being equivalent to hopes and dreams is bullshit. Once you make it life-saving, once you bring up hopes and dreams, you can no longer say life-saving because you don't even believe it needs to be life-saving. So stop saying life-saving.
You go to the practical way that this plays out, you have to keep abortion care. You have to. Thank you so much, Kyle.
They didn't want to talk to Kyle, but they did want to talk at Kyle, use Kyle as a talking point, and put so much other shit on the Kyle that he may or may not believe when they could have just let Kyle back up and talk. How disingenuous can you be?
Great day, Kyle. I hope you never get laid. And I'm genuine and serious about that. I hope that no person, man, woman, non-binary, ever engages in any sort of sex with you. Because you're not grown up enough now to even begin to think about it.
This is kind of a moot point he's making. He's saying he's not grown up enough to think about it, but literally, in like even the states they claim is not legal in, the most they've done is made it illegal by after the 6th week. Even after that, you can drive to the next state. So even if Kyle gets laid and she gets pregnant, she still has the ability to go and get an abortion. So he's just being childish for the sake of being childish. That's crazy as hell to me. He wants to. I'm a man that I'm so caring and I this and I'm considerate and you're being the most biggest childish fuck of all time. I hope you never get laid. Have you seen the dudes that chicks will lay with? You're acting as if they make all these fucking good decisions. Hell, 98% of the reasons they want an abortion is because they chose a guy who didn't fit some sort of a quote unquote man build or real whatever the fuck. Literally, you're talking shit to the person would literally be more responsible in its likelihood. Fine. And its likelihood would be more responsible than the guys who they get pregnant on a regular anyway. All right, but to make them look even smaller to the masses, go right ahead, right? You don't know him, never seen him, but we're going to make him to be the most pathetic guy on planet Earth because, well, it helps me make my point. Isn't your logic good enough, Matt?
No, I could be wrong. Maybe our sex coach here might completely disagree and say, you know what? Maybe the best thing that could happen is for Kyle to get laid. Or maybe for Kyle to get somebody who's actually interested in him so that he can develop empathy for people other than himself.
Yeah, maybe. But I also,
What the fuck has nothing to do with
potential
this?
of that person getting stuck with a pregnancy that they didn't want and having Kyle be the father. And like, not only is Kyle the father of your child, so we're already off to a bad start. But on top of that, he's not going to let you have the care that you're looking for. Oh my God. The way...
If they got pregnant now, it wouldn't be law. Smart ass.
The way that I would level the apartment building if my fiance ever told me what he would let me do and not let me do. Oh. It would just never happen.
It's so... here's what we'll permit you to do. And it's wild.
I wonder if that fiance still has to take on leadership roles. I wonder if that fiance still has to be sacrificial in a quote unquote moments that matter. I wonder if that fiance is just this like super docile. Okay, honey. Okay, honey. Okay, honey. Sure, honey. Okay, honey. Okay. Sure. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you, honey. Okay, honey. Okay, honey. Sure.
You know, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm overstepping my bounds in psychoanalyzing Kyle and these incels. But maybe it's the fact that they can't control the women in their life, but there's no woman in their life to control, that they feel this urge to try to control other women that they have no interaction with at all.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh God. Oh, this is so pathetic. If you proved Kyle wrong sufficiently, you wouldn't have to come here to this point. You wouldn't have... Listen, if y'all were actually the right ones, you wouldn't have to get to a point where you have to make people seem in Kyle's position, what he agrees with, and they call it the right. You wouldn't have to make them seem like such pathetic people outside of your argument. Because y'all do this a lot that I've noticed. I thought this was just a joke, but sometime about like 4 or 5 months ago, they said, why are all the men on the right seem to be suffering with women and not getting laid and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and I didn't make a video about it, but because I thought about it and I just left it alone. But when I did think about it, I'm like, what are they talking about? And it dawned on me that, okay, they're assuming that because quote unquote red pill content creators have followers who say they struggle with women or will hire a dating coach, well then all the men who struggle with women, or at least most of them, are just on the right. And if you believe in the right side of, the political talking points, well then you're just somebody who doesn't get laid and has trouble with women. And that means you're wrong on everything. And that means you're wrong, period, right? Because even still, and this is just universal wherever you go apparently, is that if you are male and bad with female, well therefore you're just wrong and nobody should ever agree with you. But our biological desires are still based on very caveman shit, which is, as I said before, we've constructed society to not fit that. Instead, it fits it, doesn't even fit it at all. We have to retrofit it. So why would her desires, especially considering how many of them say they baby daddies ain't shit, be the deciding factor of me being right or wrong? Also, look at the men on the right. They're just super accepting of literally everything. They're on the right. Being an open cuck, is it more left or right? It's left. Literally just being a cross-dresser or a tranny or any of that is more or left on the right or left. Which one? Dudes who simply don't really seek employment, really. Dudes who don't care to even have a household at all. Which side are they typically on? Where I'm from, they're on the left. And they typically have more than one baby mama. So the structure, the guys who prefer structure to have the kids that way, have, wife, a setting, all that type of stuff, typically on the right. Like, we make fun of the right for like Donald Trump. We make fun of the right for having several divorces and several marriages. But the left is more likely to have multiple baby mamas. So I'm not sure why. Well, I know why. But they literally just took the whole dating coach concept and just took that to say, oh, the guys on the right, those are the guys who are bad with women. Therefore, that means that they're wrong. Even though we know for a fact that women will literally pick. She's literally up here saying that she might have a baby she does not want. But she gets to be the de facto, oh, she didn't choose you, therefore you're wrong. She's the universal good decision maker? Really? Alright. But I'm it's only 2 minutes, it's only a minute left anyway. But that last 5 minutes was just straight bullshit. No, nothing serious at all. Can't really take their argument seriously because all they do, shut the fuck up, Kyle. I'm gonna put you on. It's goddamn. No seriousness in it whatsoever. Be right, not positive. I'm out.